boys and girls, and welcome to our next literacy lesson. Now, I'm in front of the bookshelf. That means that we're going to be reading a story together, but today we're switching it up. We finished last week our Flat Stanley novel study. We read through the whole book, we did all of our special work for it, and we even wrote about our own adventures of traveling just like Flat Stanley. So now that means we're going to be starting something new. The new unit that we're going to start talking about is going to help us in our reading lessons like this, as well as our writing lessons that we do at the end of the week. This unit is going to be all about fairy tales. Now, what I really like about fairy tales is that these stories have been around for a long time. That means that over time and over the years, different people have retold the stories in their own ways. So what we're going to be doing in our reading portions is that each week we're going to choose a fairy tale and we're going to read 2, maybe 3 versions of the same story. And maybe we can use them to compare. Maybe we're going to be talking about the story elements and even about the perspectives or who is telling the version of the story. But for now, our very first story we're going to read is one you're probably familiar with. And this one is Goldilocks and the 3 Bears. Now, the book that I have here is retold and illustrated by Valerie Gorbachev, and it is published by North-South Books. Now, what I really like about my version of Goldilocks is the pictures in the book are amazing, so be sure to take a look at the pictures as we go. All right. Once upon a time, there were 3 bears who lived together in a little cottage in the woods. There was a great big father bear, a medium-sized mother bear, and a wee small baby bear. One morning, the 3 bears decided to go for a walk in the woods while their breakfast porridge cooled. While they were gone, a little girl named Goldilocks came past their cottage. There she is. She peeked in the window, and when she saw no one was home, she went inside. There on the table sat 3 bowls of porridge. The porridge smelled so delicious that Goldilocks just had to have some. First, she tried the porridge in the great big father bear's bowl, but it was too hot. Next, she tried the porridge in the medium-sized mother bear's bowl, but it was too cold. Then she tried the porridge in the wee small baby bear's bowl, and it was just right, so she ate it all up. And when she finished the porridge, Goldilocks wandered into the sitting room, and she found 3 bear chairs. First, she tried the great big father bear's chair, but it was too hard. Next, she tried the medium-sized mother bear's chair, but it was too soft. Then she tried the wee small baby bear's chair, and it was just right. So Goldilocks sat down in the chair and broke it all to bits. Well, then Goldilocks went upstairs where she found 3 bear beds. First, she tried the great big father bear's bed, but it was too hard. Next, she tried the medium-sized mother bear's bed, but it was too soft. Then she tried the wee small baby bear's bed, and it was just right. So Goldilocks lay down and fell fast asleep. No sooner had Goldilocks fallen asleep than the three bears returned home. Their walk had made them very hungry, so they hurried right into the kitchen. Goldilocks had left the spoon in the great big father bear's porridge. "Someone has been eating my porridge," he said. The medium-sized mother bear saw the spoon had been left in her porridge too. "Someone has been eating my porridge," she said. Then the wee small baby bear looked at his bowl of porridge. "Someone has been eating my porridge, and they ate it all up." The three bears hurried into the sitting room. Goldilocks had knocked the pillows off the great big father bear's chair. "Someone has been sitting in my chair," he said. The pillows on the medium-sized mother bear's chair had been moved too. "Someone has been sitting in my chair," she said. Then the wee small baby bear looked at his chair. "Someone has been sitting in my chair," he cried, "and they broke it all to bits." Then the three bears went upstairs. Goldilocks had messed up the covers on the great big father bear's bed. "Someone has been sleeping in my bed," he said. And the covers were moved on the medium-sized mother bear's bed too. "Someone has been sleeping in my bed," she said. And then the wee small baby bear looked at his bed. "Someone's been sleeping in my bed," he said, "and here she is." Goldilocks woke with a start. She leapt out of the bed, jumped through the window, clambered down from the roof, and ran across the field as fast as she could go. What happened to Goldilocks afterwards, no one knows. But the three bears never saw her again, and they lived happily ever after in their cottage in the woods. Now, boys and girls, like I said, this is a story that you're probably already familiar with. But it's funny to think of this story if it happened in real life. If someone we didn't know came into our house, what we would do is we'd probably call the cops, because that would be something that would be kind of like a crime. So what we're going to do for this book is we're going to retell some important parts of the story in a different, fun way. Your job is to write an official police report about the crime of Goldilocks breaking into the bear's house. So on this activity, there is a Google form attached that has the questions for you. Of course, it's a writing task, so you can write your answers into the Google form, or you can write it by hand and take a picture of it and put it into the Dropbox. So the questions that we have there for our official police report. Our first question is, who was involved? So this is asking you who the characters were in the story. What characters or people were involved in this story? The next question is, what happened? Use maybe one or two sentences to tell us what happened in the story. What did Goldilocks do? The next one says, where did the incident occur? So where did this story happen? The next says, when did the incident happen? So when was it that Goldilocks broke into the house? Try and think of the parts of the day. Was it the morning? Was it lunchtime? Was it nighttime? Think of maybe when you would eat oatmeal or porridge in the day. Think about that as a hint. And then it says, why do you think that Goldilocks did this? So this is part of your own opinion. Why do you think Goldilocks went into the bear's house? We're writing for some fun to say that it was a police report or a crime, but I know in the story, Goldilocks doesn't seem like too much of a mean person. So why do you think she went into the bear's house? All right, boys and girls, you can go through that on the Google form, or like I said, you can write out your answers and take a picture of it. Either way, good luck and have fun.